Greek life. One of the most polarizing aspects of college. On one end of the spectrum, we have the popular kids. You know, those self-proclaimed cool kids who are only going to be accepting people who are capable of taking 15 shots of the strongest vodka you could possibly find at the liquor store. And on the other side of the spectrum, we have the brothers and sisters who are all striving to use the resources of college as efficiently as possible and helping each other out to chase each other's dreams. And also, of course, having some fun at the same time. Now, upon the time I started college, I've always had a negative opinion on Greek life. I believe that it is silly, it is a waste of time, and it could potentially be dangerous. I mean, I've read about so many unfortunate stories about college students going into critical conditions when they were dared to participate in dangerous activities by their brothers and sisters just to get into the fraternity or sorority. However, after 3 whole semesters of staying in my room all day, feeling bad for myself because my college life did not live up to the college life of all of the social media influencers, I started to ask myself that maybe becoming brothers in a fraternity is exactly what I need to defeat my social anxiety. That is exactly what I did. In this spring semester, I rushed for 2 fraternities. Both of them seem to be composed of pretty decent men who are mostly focused on their career. Anyways, what's up guys, David here, and in this video, I will talk about my experiences with fraternities and Greek life as a whole. I'll also talk about what happened after the rush for me, and I'll also answer the question of whether or not you should get involved in Greek life at your college. But before I do that, I'd like to ask everyone who finds this video valuable to go ahead and leave a like, as it helps me defeat the evil YouTube algorithm, as well as subscribing to this channel for more videos. Notice how I didn't say weekly this time, so yeah, stop roasting me. It's not cool. Alright, so here's how I'm going to be structuring this video. I will first talk about my experiences during these rushes, then I'll talk about whether or not you should get involved in Greek life, and lastly, if any of you guys actually care enough, I will talk about what I ended up doing. I know this sounds a little bit out of order, but I feel like this is probably the best sequence. I'm putting all of the valuable information at the beginning of the video and putting everything about me at the end. I think I deserve some appreciation for that. Anyway, so I rushed for 2 fraternities, if I haven't mentioned this already. One of them is a brand new fraternity that was only founded like a little bit over a year ago. And one of them is a slightly older fraternity that was founded around 20 years ago. Now, before I talk about anything else, I would like to say that overall, I loved hanging out with people from both of these fraternities. Like, I honestly did not expect a single fraternity to be this laid back. Now, despite what some of you guys who are watching this video may think, I'm a very principled person. I am not 21, so I refuse to drink alcohol. And prior to participating in these rush events, one of my biggest fears I had was that I was probably going to be strongly encouraged to shotgun a beer. But that didn't seem to be the case at all, actually. In fact, in both of the fraternities I rushed for, they played beer pong with water. And both of them were pretty understanding during the rush when I told them that I don't want to drink because I'm underage. Both of them were really welcoming, and it really just completely changed my opinion on Greek life as a whole. I started to realize that most Greek life organizations are more focused on the brotherhood or sisterhood as compared to doing the craziest things possible at parties. Alright, so before I give up too much information and potentially spoil the story of what I ended up doing after the rush, I figured I would now spend some time talking about whether or not you should consider rushing for a fraternity or a sorority. So the first factor I think you should consider is money, especially if you're on a student loan, because something I feel like nobody realizes is that Greek life is expensive. Like, really expensive. The fees for Greek life can range from $200 all the way up to $2,000 a semester. In some of the more prestigious schools, it could even be more expensive. Sure, of course there are benefits, like, you know, making lifelong friends and gaining leadership skills, and even possibly networking, but is it worth the money? I mean, there are tons of organizations across campus that you could probably find that are so much cheaper, that may be even better for making friends and networking and developing as a leader. And most of those organizations only cost about $30 a semester. So if you're on a strict budget, I would not recommend going into Greek life. The next thing I would consider is the time commitment, because if you're not aware of it already, pledging for Greek life takes a lot of time. You're pretty much expected to show up and do something every single day. Now, this obviously varies between each brotherhood and sisterhood, but in most cases, you're probably going to be expected to show up and do something every single day, or at least almost every single day. So are you sure you want to dedicate that much of your time into it. A question I recommend you ask yourself before committing is, what are you trying to accomplish during your time in college? Are you trying to build a business, make a personal brand? Are you trying to get into a more competitive graduate program? If your answer to any of the questions I asked is yes, Greek life may not be for you. The last factor you should consider is, what are you actually trying to get out of Greek life? Are you just trying to have some fun and go to frat parties? Are you trying to hang out with the quote-unquote popular kids just to look cool on social media? If your answer is yes to any of those questions, yeah, I think it's pretty obvious by now, but Greek life is probably not for you. Because regardless of how cool Greek life may look, they still have to follow a certain guideline of rules. So if you really want to party, make friends with party animals. You won't have to pay $1,000 a semester, and you'll probably enjoy yourself more. On top of that, most fraternities and sororities do not actually require you to be a part of them to come to their parties. You just have to be friends with them. And if you're a guy, you probably have to bring a girl with you. Now, if you're someone who wants to be a part of a brotherhood or sisterhood, where everyone can look out for each other and become a close family, or if you want to network and help out the community, then yes, Greek life is probably for you. In fact, here's actually a story of one of my close friends who is about 6 years older than me. So when he was an undergrad, he was in a fraternity. Then he applied for a job at a very big company. Now, I'm not going to say which company specifically because I don't want to disclose too much information without his permission. But here's what happened. When he arrived to his job interview, he found out that his interviewer's manager actually happened to be a part of the exact same fraternity he was when he was an undergrad. So yeah, he ended up getting hired on the spot. Thanks, brother. So yeah, of course there are benefits of getting involved with Greek life. Just make sure you're picking a brotherhood or sisterhood to rush for that are actually composed of people who are career focused and not just party animals who are trying to have fun and waste their college time away. Alright, so now I guess I'll talk about what I ended up doing after rush week. So when I finished rushing for the first fraternity, the one that's pretty new, I was offered a bid at the end of the rush. However, when I was pledging, I was forced to do things I did not want to do, which caused me to end up dropping out of the pledge. However, I'm pretty cool with those guys, and they're pretty understanding about me, and they respect that, and I still hang out with them from time to time. The second fraternity I rushed for was a slightly smaller one, and it was actually an Asian interest fraternity, and unfortunately I was not offered a bid at the end, which is not a rare occurrence. So please, if you do rush for a fraternity or a sorority and you don't end up getting a bid, please do not feel discouraged about it. You probably didn't do anything wrong. It's just that they probably felt like there were better people that were a better fit, and it's just something that happens. And also, the chances are, unless you're already good friends with some of the people in the organization, the odds of you not getting a bid is probably higher. But yeah, looking back at it, I'm honestly pretty happy that I did not end up pledging for either one of these organizations, because if I did, I probably would have had to completely stop making videos on this channel, at least for a good amount of time. Because like I said before, pledging is a lot of work. Which actually brings me to something else I would like to spend some time talking about, which is hazing, which most fraternities do. And I honestly don't think there's anything inherently wrong with hazing. However, this could actually potentially be very dangerous, and there has unfortunately been news on unfortunate situations where college students end up going into critical conditions from hazing. So please listen up. If you attend a party school, chances are, whichever fraternity or sorority you pledge for, you'll probably be forced to go through some sort of hazing, which by definition is basically an activity that everyone wants to join a group is expected to do. Most of the time it would involve alcohol, which of course is not the most ethical thing in the world, but most of the time it's pretty harmless. However, unfortunately, every so often, there will be this one fraternity or sorority that decides to take it way too far and force the new pledgees to do inappropriate things that may end up harming them. So if you're in a situation where you don't feel comfortable with what people are telling you to do, don't do it. And if they won't let you into the organization because you won't do it, don't join an organization. Just drop out of pledging. Because chances are, if you are feeling uncomfortable with the initiation process, you will probably not be too comfortable being a part of that particular Greek life organization anyways. And on top of that, nothing is worth harming your health. Anyways, that's pretty much all I have. Feel free to use this information I provided in this video to your benefit when you are considering rushing, and I'll see you guys next time.